At this time, I'd like to introduce the Unity Student Council, Ms. Sonia Jeans. If you will have your, there you are. If you will have your group introduce themselves, name, and then do the invocation, the pledge, and tell us what's happening at Unity, we'd appreciate it.
All right. I'm Sonia Jeans. I'm the Student Council sponsor at Unity. Abby Flint will start with the introductions, and we'll just go around this way.
I'm Abby Flint. I'm the president of student. I'm in 8th grade.
I'm Riley Coble and I'm in 8th grade. I'm Becca Aiken and I'm in 7th grade. I'm McKenna Barnes and I'm in 7th grade. I'm Amy Porter and I'm in 6th grade. Joelle Porter, 8th grade. I'm Hannah Wright and I'm in 7th grade. I'm the student council vice president.
I'm Blake Hood and I'm in 8th grade.
I'm Keisha Gannon and I'm in 6th grade.
And do y'all want to start the pledge?
Yeah, do the pledge and then the invocation, and then tell us about it.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Lord, thank you for this day and thank you for allowing us to gather here this evening to discuss issues and decisions regarding our schools throughout our county. Be with the people making any decisions for our students and teachers. Also, Lord, please keep the soldiers that were sent to the battlefield safe and give their families comfort while they are serving our country. I pray for all those things. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Unity Student Council has done many things, such as open doors for morning car riders, help parents and guardians sign in during awards day, and help at parent-teacher conferences. We have also organized a very successful canned food drive and started a recycling system. We have also helped work the Harvest Festival, met with administration, and spoke at a Veterans Day program. Furthermore, we help serve drinks to friends and family at the Thanksgiving lunch and grandparents' lunch. Next, we are planning on selling sheets as a fundraiser for an awning. Then we are sponsoring a pajama day and a hat day also for the awning. To conclude our year, we're going to the annual countywide student council meeting.
Thank y'all. Do y'all have anything else? At this time, we'll start our regular board meeting. Do we have any guests here from Leadership Lincoln or anything that you recognize? Introduce yourself.
I'm Julia Cox from Leadership Lincoln. I'm Sarah Clark.
We're glad to have y'all. Thank y'all for coming out this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Consider approval, item 1 on the agenda is approval of December 9th, 2019 board members. Do I have a board minutes? Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Mr. Bradley.
Second.
Ms. Buchanan, second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carries 7-1. I don't know if 7-0. We have 7 board members. We're short one right now. Next item is consider approval of agenda 1 per policy 1.403. We will be pulling item number 8, and there are no policies per Mr. Posey's policy committee unless does any board member have any policy they wanted to bring up? We'll scratch item 6 as well. Dr. Heath, any additions or
No, that's it.
anybody else got any additions they want to make to the? Only thing I'd like to add under points of information is Mr. Bryant just give us just a brief bit on LCHS at the end of the STEM deal, and just kind of I think where we're at with Timber. I think it's tomorrow, but I was just going to ask.
And well, I also wanted to add the scope conference, just add that points of information too.
Do I have a motion to approve? Make a motion to approve. Mr. Collins?
I'll say.
Mr. Tucker, second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carries 7-0. Dr. Heath, item 3 is recognitions tonight.
Yes, here tonight from South Lincoln for support staff member of the month, Ms. Turpin.
I'm very pleased to be here tonight to recognize Mr. Stan Davis, our head custodian at South Lincoln. I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. Come on up with me, Mr. Stan. Mr. Stan's married to Miss Jo Davis, who's here with him tonight. He's got a son, Andy, a daughter, Becca, and 6 grandchildren he's very proud of. He has been at South Lincoln for 5 years. When you drive by on 362 Smith Mill, you know there's somebody there that cares about that building, and it's not just me. Mr. Stan keeps us looking good inside out. I couldn't be any prouder of the facility or the grounds. Not only does Mr. Stan do that, he is great with our children. I have an 8th grade student on the ball team. Our new coach put in a thing where they could choose a teacher to recognize to be a celebrity at a game, and they got to wear their jersey that day. Mr. Stan had an 8th grade young man choose him to stand with him and be recognized, and that says a lot, especially from an 8th grade, very popular young man in the building. Mr. Stan is good with the children, and I appreciate that as much as his care and concern for our building. Thank you, Mr. Stan. I appreciate you and all you do.
We appreciate it.
Our teacher of the month is from Highland Rim. Ms. Pryor.
Yes. Ms. Sherry, come on up here. It's going to be a little Q&A here for a minute. Mr. Garris, I think, is either running late or I don't know what's come up, but tell us how many years you've been teaching at Highland Rim. 15 years. Children?
How many children?
Mhm.
I don't even know. 15 years. Yeah,
15
I don't know.
years. Lots and lots of kids
Yeah.
have come through here, right? All
Yeah.
same grade level?
Yes.
All 6th grade, all
Yes.
years, 6th grade. Okay, I don't know what y'all know about middle school, but I'm gonna tell you there's one grade level I would have to be hurting to apply for, and that would be middle school. It is a difficult grade level, 6th, 7th, and 8th, but I will tell you 6th, when I go into buildings, is one of the ones whenever I'm watching teachers teach. It's hard because they're transitioning from 5th to 6th grade. They've had the K-5, love, teacher, take care of me, support me, show me where to go, and then all of a sudden they get into 6th grade and it's like, all right, you're not babies anymore. We've got to learn how to be adult, how to be, well, middle school kids, but we treat them kind of like adults in middle school. So when I first started here, 9, almost 10 years ago, I think Miss Sherry was one of the first people that I had the privilege of walking into a classroom and watching teach. This lady loves her students. She has more energy than I have ever seen in a classroom. I've never seen writing taught as beautifully as she teaches it. Do you agree with me? He's sitting over here shaking his head, yes. I've never seen a teacher teach writing like Miss Sherry teaches. I was in awe. I could not teach it like she does, and I wouldn't try, now especially Miss Sherry. But I told her, I said, oh my gosh, I can't wait for Common Core, which is not Common Core anymore. And at the time we thought that's what was coming. I said, because you're gonna rock that. That's, she knew exactly what to do and how to teach writing and reading together. She amazes me. Her energy amazes me. Her demeanor with her peers around her, she's very positive. She's always spreading a positive spirit in her building. And the kids just, they love her. And I love you too. Thank you for all the work you do.
Next on the agenda is our student board representative report, Mr. Andrew Dixon.
Yeah. I thought we ended December on a pretty high note at the high school. We completed all the state testing and all the required fields. I thought that went really smoothly from my perspective. On one of the last days of school, Lift LC and First Priority provided hot chocolate and a cookie to every single student in our school. They seemed to really love that. We ended a semester We're looking forward to 2020. Today was our first day back from break, and everybody I talked to today seemed to think that today went very smoothly, and they're very excited to start the new year.
We
Do
appreciate
their
that.
best.
We appreciate that. Ms. Lois Barnes from David Kids also gives us consider the acceptance of the cafeteria and activity fund audit reports.
First, I want to address the cafeteria procedures. We have to perform limited procedures related to the cafeteria system in connection with our internal school funds. We've completed our work. We had no findings, and that's just part of the county audit. And their auditor actually came to our office today to review our work. So we're all clear there. To move on to the internal school funds, each of you should have 3 separate reports. You have the bound financial reports, the gray folder. There's a letter to those charged with governance, which of course, as you as the board, is just addressed to the members of the school board. And then also the management report. Just a few things I want to point out. Of course, this year was a little different. The current year opinion reflects an adverse opinion on the combined financial statements that are on pages 5 and 6 in the report. And that's because the Highland Rim School is not included in the combined financial statements, because those books have not yet been audited. They will be once the other things are completed. That we'll do that audit. It'll be separate. I will point out that the opinion letter did include an unqualified or clean opinion on the other 7 schools. They're on the separate financial statements are on pages 11 through 25 of your report, and there are clean opinions on those 7 schools. I do want to bring your attention to the findings on pages 35 through 37 of the actual bound audit report. And these just reflect issues or points that we noted in the course of the audit that, we considered material weaknesses in internal control or compliance issues, like compliance in terms of not following what the school manual says or not following what school board policy says. I just wanted to bring and they're separated into things that were repeated and things that were, might actually be new points in this school year. As far as the governance letter is concerned, it just addresses several different aspects of the audit, and then also includes any adjustments we might have had at each individual school, and they're separated by school. And then, of course, the management report includes the issues I mentioned on pages 35 through 37 of the audit report, and then other issues that we didn't consider material weaknesses, as far as there are a number of different points there, more than in the audit report. Does anyone have any questions? Or?
Yeah, the items that you have that are on the separate page.
Yes.
Those are just classified by school that are part of the regular report, or these are ones that you're not considering findings?
That is just those aren't actually findings. They're just audit adjustments.
Okay.
The findings would actually be in the management.
Okay.
report.
All right. We would defer any action on whether acceptance until we get the Halloween report anyhow, would we not?
I think if you could accept
The
this.
portion?
Yes.
I think
That's yes.
I'd recommend that. I think.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions in the report? I mean, we got it. It's the same that we had online, correct, Ms. Karen? Other than
The finalized.
Finalized.
Right. That's right.
Got a motion to?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Tucker makes a motion, Ms. Ames second. Do I have any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Barnes.
you.
We appreciate it. Dr. Heath. Next item would be consider the agreement with Limestone County, Alabama Schools.
Yes, of course, we put this agenda out a couple weeks ago, so at that time, I had not heard back from legal counsel on an agreement. I was contacted around early December by the interim superintendent of Limestone County about renewing an agreement that has been in place since 1991 between Lincoln County Schools and Limestone County Schools. And nobody in my office, nobody in finance office, nobody had ever heard of this. So they sent me a copy of it and the proposed update on the agreement because this was prompted when I think there must be a senior or two at Ardmore High School that lives in Ardmore, Lincoln County, and goes to school down there. And they are looking at college, and of course they're talking about the Tennessee Promise, and so the Attorney General or someone in Tennessee has said, hey, you know, you have to have an annual agreement with Lincoln County Schools to proceed with this. So anyway, I'm still a little confused on the reason that it came back up. But in the agreement that they sent to me, and I did have an email conversation, I sent an email over the holidays, and I heard back today from the interim superintendent there about this. I told him I couldn't recommend the board approve this because in the maintenance agreement, the first three things talk about the formula, how they calculate the per pupil expenditure for tuition. But then number 4 says the Lincoln County Board of Education will pay this tuition. And I can't recommend that. I think the families, you know, if they want to choose to go to another school system and that school system is charging tuition, I will say he emailed me later this afternoon, and there was something in there about that they do pay tuition, and I hadn't responded yet, but of course, I will respond that there's nothing in here that says that. So at this time, I would just like to put this to the side, no action, request no action, and you know, talking to Mr. Cagle, our attorney, he said that, you know, we don't have to agree to any agreement. You know, there's a state statute in Tennessee that if you live in Alabama, you want to come to Tennessee public schools, you have to pay the per pupil expenditure, which is $7,400 or something like that in tuition. And I think Alabama has the same statute. So anyway, I believe the number was 8 kids, 6 maybe at the high school and 2 at an elementary school down there that are in this situation. But I would recommend no action, and I'll dig more into it and keep you informed, you know, through our weekly reports, and then it may show back up next month, it may not, I don't know. Let's just see where it goes if there's no objection.
A motion to table the item.
Make a motion to table the agreement with Limestone County.
Mr. Bradley, second. Any discussion? Other? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carries 7-0. Next item, Mr. Bradford was unable to attend tonight, but the financial package is pretty much straightforward. The item 1 on the packet that we received is the 141 general purpose school fund and the 143 centralized cafeteria and the 146 extended school program packet. Do I have a motion to approve or accept? I'm sorry, accept.
Make a motion to accept.
Bradley, motion to accept.
I'll second.
Mr. Tucker, second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carries to accept. The next item 2 is the budget amendments. There is no new money involved unless somebody wants them pulled separately. You got a 141 general purpose amendment, a 143 centralized cafeteria fund amendment, and then the 146 school program fund. What's a pleasure to accept? Does somebody make a motion to move to approve? Mr. Posey makes a motion to approve all 3.
Yes. I'll make a motion. I'll second it.
Mr. Tucker, second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carries 7-0 to accept. Dr. Heath, on points of information.
Sure. On the first one, the winter retreat is February 1st. Be getting information out about that. I think I did put something today in the weekly report. If you have any items you'd like to see on that agenda that day, make sure I know that pretty soon, because I'm working on that agenda this week. And I'd like to have everything on there that you want on there. And I'll have to submit to TSBA for you to get credit, for that day also.
Remember that we will include the February board meeting as a part of that.
And usually that's around midday, isn't it, when we do that? The February board meeting will be on that Saturday while we're there. Item 2, if you haven't already received a budget calendar from the Finance Committee, you will be receiving that pretty soon. I did get a draft of it the other day, so when the Finance Committee at the county approves that, I'm sure they'll forward it on out. I'll go ahead and forward you the draft, but it's very similar to the one we worked through the last 3 or 4 years anyway. Number 3, need a board member. We had some discussion about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, about becoming a board of distinction and what it takes, some of the requirements, and I think we've worked through some of those with our fall TSBA evening. We had the right attendance there, and attending the conference, and having enough delegates and so forth. Well, one of the requirements is that we have someone on the board volunteer to be the Tennessee Legislative Network representative for our board. It need to be somebody who has and will commit to being a part of that convention, because being a part of the delegate assembly, that's important. And I think you'll probably be getting maybe some additional communications regarding legislation from TSBA. I'd gladly, whoever it is, if you get those and you forward it to me, I'll put it on that Monday report. If you want it on there, or if you want to send it out separately, that'd be easy too. So I don't think it's a huge commitment, but we do need somebody in that role if we want to continue that quest.
I would accept that if you want me to.
I think that'd be great. You've been on the delegate assembly the last
3 years.
3 years, so.
Anybody else? Jump in.
You didn't jump out there for it, did you?
I guess that's nomination ceased.
I nominate Kevin Putzman.
Mr. Posey, accept that position. We appreciate it.
Okay.
I don't think extra pay comes with it.
No.
No stipend.
A couple more things. I know you have some too, I think. Scope is coming up. And Karen, you wanted to bring that up tonight because
Yes,
we need
sir.
somebody to.
Well, we have representatives from Lincoln County High School. There will be 4 students, and actually our student board representatives will be attending that along with a couple of other folks. And Ms. Hannah Posey, who is the student council sponsor at the high school, will be going with that. It is also open to board members. So if you're looking to add a little bit to your boardsmanship points, or you just want to see and observe what our students are doing, from what I understand, it's a good thing to attend. But if you would like to go as an observer, there's a minimal cost that the school system can take care of. But I do need to know, like, by the 1st of next week if you want to attend. The date is March the 10th.
I went last year. It is really neat to see the.
It is at MTSU. So I need to know, like I said, maybe by next Monday if you wanted to go.
The kids get up and kind of debate 2 sides of it.
It's a good experience for them, and then if you go, it lets you see, what they're doing and the learning process that they're going through.
And last, there's just an announcement. Tomorrow is Karen Putman's birthday, so everybody please send her an email or a text tomorrow. Everybody online that watches this, call the office, wish Karen a happy birthday, please.
I think he did get it on his
Say
calendar
happy
this
birthday
year.
to the best board secretary in the state. And I'm in trouble.
That's all we strive for. The only item I had, Mr. Bryant, are we close on LCHS on the timeline? Or, because it just does not appear. It doesn't appear
about
what.
both of them. That way we'll get some good.
We know where the good's at.
We'll start off with Blanche. Blanche is a kind of a good, it's a success story down there. We are probably ahead of our timeline, even though they have waded mud every single day. And I do visit those sites pretty much daily. The high school, they did over Christmas break get part of that secured vestibule in. If you're out there, just take a look at that. So they got basically the office in, and we've got the storefront, which will complete that. Should be in about a week. So that on the inside of the renovations is a plus. On the outside, I've done everything I know to do, and our subcontractors are just not going as quickly as we'd like them to go. And I've simply done everything I could possibly do to push them and do that daily. But we are not we're still 6 weeks behind.
How,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I mean, from our contract management companies, I mean, is there anything that we have any?
They're there every day, and the subcontractors are there. In my opinion, they're just not the same caliber of subcontractors we have on our other job. And we're right now we got some plumbers out there and some electricians. The plumbers are speeding up. The electricians are there. They're moving. They're just moving a little bit slow. And the weather has been pretty tough out there. And it is a really compact job site, which makes it much, much harder to move around on and get machinery in and out. We have to close that site twice a day for traffic coming in and traffic leaving in the afternoon for about an hour and a half. So 45 minutes each time.
So when you said 6 weeks, which that's sort of been what I've been hearing
since the beginning of the project.
Since the fire hydrant delay.
That's correct.
So what portion of that was due to the delay in the bids from the beginning?
About 3 weeks was bids. About 3 weeks were the fire hydrant delays, and
no catching up right now.
There's just no catching up. We're not catching up. We're about 6 weeks behind. And the timber does bid tomorrow.
I knew it was tomorrow date, and I just assumed they'll just tell us.
They'll have to call me, and I'll have it for you all next month.
But there's no action for us. It's ready to go as far as the board's concerned.
But yes, I'll have the result. I'll bring the results.
I just, that way we'd know kind of what we.
If you get the results, I can share them out through the weekly report too.
Should have those in a couple of days. I'd say they'd have to verify the results and make sure that everybody met all the criteria. So hopefully we'll get them sometime this week. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Has anybody else got anything?
I got one question. I know we scratched point number 8, but the original point last month that we took off had a request for about the sign and some library furniture. Is that a need they have that we need to vote on part of that to get them what they need, or is it just something they want to?
Basically, trying to get a night when Dr. Golden and Cole are both here,
right.
and Cole can be here tonight. So I talked to Dr. Golden over break, and again, I guess it was this morning, just to make sure there's nothing urgent. We're not delaying anything that you really need.
Okay.
If we put this, and he said no, that's fine.
That's what I was concerned. We might be delaying something they need in the library and pushing it off for a couple of months.
He agreed to it. I made sure I cleared that for him. Good question.
Well, I hope everybody had a good Christmas, other than Dr. Heath and the flu. And the new year as we go forward. I know there's excitement that TCAP's already in the air. Oh, I didn't hear you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Mr. Tucker?
Second.
Mr. Bradley? This meeting is therefore adjourned. We appreciate the hospitality. Thank y'all.
Thanks.